before we get into the most recent Tensura episode, it's time to check out Aninews cut content. The terrifying influence of Rimuru and his nation. Terrifying? Nah, this is propaganda, bro. This is human propaganda.
Only Maribel fully understands the true threat Rimuru poses to humanity. With the way Tempest is constantly...
What threat would that be? Abundant, what's it called? Just like wealth and peace and quality of life going up and inclusivity and such a safe social security net and advancement of society together. They try to demonize him so hard, right? That like Rimuru may be benevolent, but if he's not there, then I guess people just think that the system's entirely just gonna crash out and it's gonna be the end of humanity.
Evolving into an economic powerhouse, it's only a matter of time before they seize control over everything. And not in a violent way either, but rather through the very system the Western nations designed to keep the wealthiest states powerful. How that's gonna happen is actually pretty terrifying.
So instead of a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers who wants to make other people's lives miserable in power, we don't want this guy in power. It's just like, I understand that there needs to be a system and that one ruler is not enough to have, you know, a thriving like future. But I just feel like the way that they're trying to gaslight us about this is so dishonest.
And it almost makes me feel for Maribel a bit. I mean, for us who know Rimuru, it's a little bit different, but for these nations whose primary conflicts have always been with monsters, a Demon Lord-led army of them is nothing but terrifying.
True.
Remember, these nations don't even fight amongst themselves because they have to save their war power to deal with monsters. So, Maribel's caution is totally justified, it's just her approach to handling it is all wrong. Her plans are, however, quite smart, and I think you might be surprised by how much of a challenge her next one may pose.
Okay.
That and her hired assassin are what we're gonna talk about, along with a lot of other interesting cut content.
The Inquisitors!
But first, that time I reincarnated as a slime meets that time I reincarnated as a mushroom in
Tensura!
Season 2.
Oh my
This
god!
isn't another epic power fantasy coming out this season, it's a cozy city episode.
I'm a little strapped for time. I've seen that ad before. But regardless, please go check out Mr. Aninews' sponsor. If you guys want to go help him out, there's that link. Go use code Aninews or whatever link and download. That's how you get him the money and the support.
Episode 79, The Mastermind's Identity, covering Chapter 4 from Volume 10 of the light novel. This, as we know, is Glenda Atlee, and before being summoned here,
Glenda.
she was a mercenary. It was when summoned that she already had her gun, so it was ever since that she'd always kept it with her.
She was summoned with her gun? I guess so, right? Because she's a mercenary, and you know, like, Hinata was, you know, somehow summoned here too, or rather just kind of just one day she just poured it in here, and you know, you have your clothing, you have your whatever you're wearing, so the gun, yeah, you're holding it, you're bringing it with you.
Combine that with her unique skill sniper, and it was safe to say she'd be a valuable asset to anyone. What did this sniper skill do? Well, in total, it provided 3 different abilities. Magic Sense enhanced her perception far above what a normal person would have. Compute Prediction let her read and understand people's actions, then Control Space connected any 2 points in space that she could picture with her mind.
The fuck?
So, anything or anyone she had in physical sight, that put them well within her gunshot range.
Okay.
It was a powerful skill that made it so she'd never failed a mission before.
Until now.
At least up until the time when she'd finally come to see there was always someone stronger. I'm not talking about here with her fight with Soe, but rather her previous encounter with Diablo.
That was hilarious. She got out there so quick. She knew that this is not, you know, to be fucked with.
You see, before her 2 types of bullets were the answer to everything. Normal bullets let her kill her target without leaving any magical traces, while bullets concentrated with magic of her own let her deal with targets possessing physical resistance. They were her own original creation, unique to her.
Okay.
What made them so incredibly powerful is that, unlike regular bullets, these disrupted and scattered magicules. That being the case, even if her target did possess the ability to regenerate, getting hit with them made regeneration impossible. They were the biggest secret to Glenda's continued survival.
It's like a video game debuff. You land a hit, but it's got like a mortal wound on it and you can't regen or heal it. That shit was pretty diabolical. It was strong until we realized that Soe has like 10 separate clones and it never really mattered.
A secret to Glenda's continued survival. So, with them, Glenda was able to handle anything up until the moment she'd crossed paths with Diablo.
I'm more interested in her portal unique extra skill, right? Like, rather than just like using the bullets, can she just use the portals to teleport between places? Because that's kind of a crazy power.
One look at him and every instinct she had warned her to run. In fact, every outcome her computer prediction skill foresaw only showed death. So, even with all the skills she had, there were quite literally 0 paths to victory against him. It was a hard lesson that forced Glenda to take in reality for once. Fast forward now to here, and once again Glenda would be up against a monster. At first she believed she was fine, but after the plan she laid out was foiled, immediately she knew she was in trouble. How did she know? Well, not just anyone could stop her attack the way Rimuru just did. You see, the gap between Elric and the portal was carefully calculated to be 18 inches.
18
the
inches?
Distance which all but guaranteed his assassination. It made it so not even someone with godlike reflexes could react to it. The fact Rimuru did anyway, well, that stunlocked Glenda to the point that she didn't know what to do next.
She should have made it 2 inches instead, man. Why 18? Make that portal even closer.
Retreat was obviously the best option, but with her thoughts focused on what would happen should she return a failure, that created the hesitation allowing Soe to find her. The fear of her bosses was for a short time greater than the fear of getting caught.
Oh.
Only after did she
What would they have done? Torture her? Kill her?
realize getting captured was worse, since of her colleagues that were, all were eventually disposed of as useless. So getting away was her top priority, and that then led to the battle with Soe. A few seconds later, and that was all it took for her to realize this could very well be one of the strongest opponents she's ever had to go against.
Soe upscale!
You might be asking, what about Diablo? But
not enough time to go with Diablo. She ran away immediately.
foes she never had a chance against to begin with weren't included in her records.
That was smart though.
So that meant Soe was someone she fully thought she could beat.
Soe's not even low tier. He's pretty damn strong. I wouldn't put him up as the strongest. But like, and his like specialty isn't even fighting, it's like espionage and spying. But like, this is a top tier elite unit.
That's not to say Soe still wasn't terrifying though, as just like with Diablo, a dark anxiety was plaguing her. It wasn't as vivid as what she felt with Diablo, but once again, her instincts were telling her this man was dangerous. Thus the reason she took the fight so seriously. It was after that in the novel we go straight to the conversation with Maribel, she expressing just how disappointed she was. Where Johann felt at least a little bit of sympathy for Gabin, Maribel could only wonder why the man didn't finish his job faster. In fact, with all the time Gabin had spent in Inglacia, Maribel was certain he should have been able to bring the king under their control by now. I guess that was the mission he was originally tasked with, but to think one man could be so capable was ridiculous. Even Johann found the notion to be a bit much, but for Maribel, her solution for that job was simple. If all they needed to do was seize the core power, then to her, simply killing the royal family would suffice.
True.
From there, she would leave only a single infant remaining, one who, if Gabin was smart, would share a bloodline with him. So, that technically was an accurate way of taking over Inglacia, but
like a puppet ruler and you actually rule that person.
This truly was one of those easier said than done type moments. It just went to show how normalized Maribel's radicalized approaches were. Her bloodstained history had left her numb to the fact all of what she wanted to do was crazy.
Remember, she's like Illuminati, man. She's a Rothschild. She is a, she's the monarch.
For her, this was what she believed was the most peaceful way though, since at the end of the day, it did limit the amount of casualties.
She was definitely on the Epstein list though. If Maribel, right? If that type of person existed during Epstein timeline, 100% they will be implicated. This is like the world's greatest like elite, powerful, influential cabal secret society stuff. 100% she'd be there.
The thing is, to end an entire bloodline wasn't gonna happen overnight, especially not with those magic inquisitors defending them. These were actually threats Gabin was able to share information on, since after being captured by them, he had become slightly knowledgeable on them. How did he get that information back to Maribel? Well, anyone under her control could freely share their knowledge with her, while under the influence of greed, anything her minions knew she could tap into.
Nice knowledge network.
So, when these magic inquisitors became this new threat she knew nothing about, Maribel had Gabin engineer a crime so heinous they would have no choice but to step up. It was when they did that the truth behind them wasn't as spectacular as you might think. All they were people infused with enough monster force to become Majin.
Monster Force. Majin, otherwise known as Magic Born. Yeah. There's been, difference between Majin and actual, like demons and monsters.
You might think that makes them on par with someone like Rasen,
Okay.
but unlike how he worked and trained himself to become one naturally,
This guy was actually pretty cool. This dude genuinely was, doing some Kenjaku shit, just like cultivating his power for a long time. Unfortunately, he made a primordial.
these Inquisitors did so forcibly. Not only that, by being forced to absorb elements their body naturally rejected, these Inquisitors no longer possessed any sentience.
Oh.
Now they were nothing but these obedient toys.
Oh. That's sad. That's fucked up.
They did, however, regain their sentience when not in their Majin
Mutant.
form, so depending on what you implanted in them, they could actually work in a variety of environments.
Okay.
In the end, their individual strength was at least over A rank. Finding that out was one of the goals Maribel set out to achieve with Gabin, his capture just a natural result of it. Then, just as we saw in
Just using Gabin to get some intel on the Inquisitors makes the Inquisitors seem kind of more hype.
the anime, Maribel's true goal was to build Rimuru's trust. By having Johan publicly oppose Gabin just like how we saw last episode, as I mentioned in my last cut content, Rimuru fully believed Johan was one of the good counselors. So, when framed like that, Maribel's plan was actually a success. For Johan, he had no say over what he could or couldn't do, but as much as he hated being bossed around by a little girl like this, expressing his dissatisfaction was something he could never do.
He's going through it. I feel bad for Johan. He's very real. He just getting bossed around by a fucking lolly. Who the fuck she thinks she is? He can't do anything about it. He's stuck. He can't do nothing.
Instead, he could only hope to mildly influence her with opinions of his own.
He tries really hard too. I don't think he's stupid either. He made a good play and saved this. I was like, I'm actually really interested in this guy.
One of them was to pit the Inquisitors against Rimuru, but
Yeah.
Maribel fully understood they were nothing compared to him.
Yeah, the power scaling. Come on. We glazing the Inquisitors a bit too much right now.
You see, where someone like Johan operated under the perception monsters and humans were equal, Maribel already understood they weren't.
Oh,
That much we saw
Johan.
her say in the anime, but to give a bit more context, she was essentially troubled by Rimuru's inevitable challenge to the status quo. Like, right now, wars between nations were far and few between because most countries needed to save their fighting ability for the monsters who threatened them. It was the council who stepped in to handle that, naturally creating this system where those with the most economic strength spoke the loudest. It was a way for the larger nations to maintain control without actually having to fight any of the smaller ones. Yes, in Glacia or Pharmacis militaries were definitely the strongest, but not even they had enough war power to take on every council member. So, in this era where wars aren't fought through the strength of one's military, the main question is how then do these big nations maintain their advantage? Well, they simply leverage their status to create the rules themselves. Being bound by rules is the same thing as losing your freedom, but if you somehow end up
Contracts.
being the one who creates those rules, at the end of the day, you aren't losing anything. So, despite Tempest saying they'll follow the council's rules now, given enough time and given enough power,
It won't
Maribel
matter.
was certain they would eventually become the new central hub governing everything.
Oh, absolutely they will. And what's the problem with that? Well, to us, it just feels like there's no problem. It feels like it's all going to go well. How long is that going to go well? For as long as Rimuru exists? Would he ever crash out? To just kind of submit and give absolute faith to a group of monsters who are your natural enemy. It is a very difficult thing to just like accept.
Whether through warfare or economic pressure, with Tempest on track to be the most influential nation out of all of them, there was no doubt they would be the one creating all the rules soon.
Yeah, pretty
In the
much.
end, all their decisions would have to go through Rimuru.
The Tempest Empire. It's going to take over the entire continent.
That didn't even take into consideration the problem of Rimuru's lifespan, since given a few generations, people would likely forget about the dangers of his storm dragon. Then, should humanity ever do something to cross Rimuru, Maribel could only imagine the fate of Pharmis would be a tame punishment.
But like, why would you revolt if everything was going well? In this hypothetical situation, these humans are crashing out. because they don't like not being in power. So they get punished for it. Why is that a bad thing? Now, if it is them oppressing and just corruption and it's just so unfair and they're just like enslaving humans, I'd understand. But that's not the case here, right?
So, this whole concept of Tempest as a nation went against everything Maribel was working towards. Unless Rimuru was stopped right here and now, then, as she said at the end, the Rotso's family dream would never come true.
Yeah, if your dream is human supremacy, yeah, this is over if Rimuru takes over. Like, I get it. She needs to fight for her own, like, you know, group. Like, I understand that.
Now, it's tough to say whether this next part will show up next episode, but just in case it doesn't, here's a quick overview.
Should we skip this or not? Episode's been out for a day already, guys. Should we skip this or nah?
You can
skip? How long should I skip? When does the spoilers end? I feel like there's some manga frames here that I should be skipping.
Skip ahead to here if you don't want to see it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. 13:12. Thank you for the spoiler announcement. We'll watch that in the actual episode.
I'll loop back to this conversation should the rest not be talked about in a future episode, but for now, just know Maribel's ready to risk it all.
Oh,
and
damn.
The plan she's brewing might actually turn
Risk
out
it all?
to be quite the challenge for Rimuru.
Okay.
This brings us now to...
What does she got, really, other than Grandpappy Rotso? She has a special weapon, the trump card, right? Other than that, I feel like it's over. Like, all you can do is try to influence. Like, you can't fight Rimuru like that. Like, this arc is not a fucking confrontation of, like, war power. It's all politics and diplomacy and scheming, right? So, I just don't know. Yeah, she got Yuki. She got Grandpappy Rotso. I just think that the funniest thing for Yuki is that Yuki, this is the best thing that could happen to Yuki. He's just chilling. He's literally said multiple times, guys, like, whenever he's, like, having a meeting with the clowns, right? Like Laplace and them. He's like, right now, we should just chill. We should be, you know, low-key right now, right? There's no reason to do anything. Let's just lay low. And I understand what he means by that. Because we don't have to do anything. Maribel's doing everything. And now I can pretend, if I'm Yuki, that I'm fucking being controlled. And I'm probably going to go in there and start fighting and shit. And when it's all done... Whoa! What happened? I was under control. I didn't mean to do any of that. It's the perfect fucking immunity. You have such a great opportunity to just do shit without getting blamed for anything.
Scene in the cafe, Rimuru recapping what just happened. Aside from the main events, any counselors part of the conspiracy were actually saved from punishment due to diplomatic immunity.
The people that try to, like... Wait, I forget. Was it the standing up and then sit down immediately or something? I remember when someone got up and no one else was standing up and he got called out for it.
Rimuru did, however, submit his ledgers to authorities anyway, so it was safe to say their home nations would end up investigating them anyway. It was only a matter of time before those corrupted by bribes would lose their positions.
This scumbag.
Even the ones who didn't oppose Rimuru. It was when Soei arrived next that he would reveal his strategy was all because of Rimuru. Rimuru had once described the tactics he saw in spy movies and video games, then Soei for some reason took them seriously.
What? This is funny content. So he's like learning, you know, espionage and spying from random movies Rimuru watched.
To Rimuru, that whole conversation was inconsequential, but...
This is some shit out of Skimishimura's Fantasy. I forgot their names. It's been such a long time. But Makoto had a lot of movies and stuff. And Shin, the dragon, right? The dragon girl, she would watch the fucking movies and start LARPing as a samurai, right? So it's kind of like that for Soei.
For Soei, that idea of feigning weakness proved quite effective. Further discussions would reveal the assassin was Glenda, a battle sage who managed to beat another battle sage.
Oh.
Twice her victory over a man named Rama would be mentioned, and it was ever since that man had started working for her.
Okay.
The way she beat him was by using her special tactics, but when it came to her battle with Soei, a gun wasn't the only weapon Glenda had used here. Now, with her reality weapon skill allowing her to manifest any weapon from her memory, Glenda had also whipped out some hand grenades.
Oh, what?
It was how she managed to beat so many of Soei's clones.
Jesus, your powers are funny. Like, what else can she 3D print? Like, what's the limit? You know, what other modern warfare can we bring out?
It's not like Glenda could just manifest something like a nuke, though,
yeah.
Since there were limits to the effects her created weapons could imitate.
Okay.
That said, to create weapons out of mental pictures was still incredibly powerful.
It is.
Now,
you got a 3D printer.
Getting to the interrogation, Soe was a bit excessive when it came to making Glenda be compliant. Where Hinata and Rimuru just wanted to talk, Soe was fully intent on amputating her limbs if he had to.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. They made Shuna and Hinata look like monsters, right? Saying we can just resurrect her, but Soe was going on that too, huh?
Obviously, he would heal her after, but just because they had healing potions didn't mean that they should torture someone.
Diabolical.
So, despite Soe and
War crimes. So we just started waterboarding Glenda. Maybe Moneybell's right. Maybe we are too much. I feel like we're straight up just violating, you know, just humanitarian fucking rights for the sake of intel gathering.
Shuna agreeing that that was the appropriate path forward, Rimuru proceeded with just talking first. Hinata would set the stage with her questions, but there was actually one additional one that gave context as to how Glenda ended up here.
Oh.
She was assigned to this commercial hub, also she could have more freedom with her movements. Not only that, she was also directly ordered not to fall under the influence of the merchants. Well, fall she did, and with the way the council always seemed privy to what was going on within the church, Hinata could only assume that she'd become the spy for them.
She knew already.
When Rimuru took over the interrogation after that, a lot more would be said about the way skills were seen.
Whoa,
the reason
whoa.
Rimuru knew so much about
Where's the
Glenda's
cock?
is because he, amongst others, could perceive them. Milam's Dragon Eye is probably the most famous example, as legend says she can see everything.
Yeah?
This was generally true when it came to the skills a person had, but for any
Milim's Dragon Eye versus Gojo's Six Eyes. Which one wins?
skills that were manifested internally, Milam wouldn't be able to see them unless they were activated.
Okay.
She could gauge a person's strength
That butt crack is crazy.
as well as whether a skill was extra or unique, but when it came to the more specific details, deciphering them was tough.
Okay.
So, say someone
I feel like Gojo's Six Eyes and Tensura could decipher it. You know? He just has crazy good eye. He just knows, right? He could sense all the fucking magical power, whatever mana, whatever resource, and just like come up with. I think he could.
had 2 or more unique skills, Milam would have a tough time determining whether they were just one powerful one or multiple different ones.
It's like a generalized vibe check.
Rimuru's Analyze and Assess was pretty much the same, trained to the point that he could read the most basic of information on people's skills. He had also learned how to conceal his own, something he didn't know was possible until he met Gi.
Gi
In the
Crimson!
past, Rimuru just assumed his skills were hidden unless he showed them, but his time at Walpurgis revealed any Analyze and Assess skill forged well enough could detect any skill.
Gi had a crazy power where he was like reality bending the tables and room and space and time. Remember that? Like he just had creative mode on during that Walpurgis meeting. Like he just like changed the fucking desk layout and all these I was like, whoa, what is this?
So, Rimuru was lucky he had 4 ultimate skills at the time Gi appraised him, since that was probably enough to prevent him from being toyed with.
4 ultimate is actually crazy. I feel like a person having 1 ultimate's already busted. Bro has 4, and this is season 2. This is fucking season 2. I feel like we're getting kind of out of control for like unless we're gonna come up with new skills tiers beyond ultimate. Like the fuck?
Lucky he had 4 ultimate skills at the time Gi appraised him, since that was probably enough to prevent him from being toyed with. There was no way to know what exactly Gi saw, but no matter what
You would shout out his body. Bro, hold up.
time Gi appraised him, since that was probably enough to prevent him from being toyed with.
Clayman.
There was no way to know what exactly Gi saw.
Clayman after he got chopped up by Shion. Oh, Clayman.
But no matter what,
Yo, Clayman has some good moments. I remember Clayman and Tensura and Nikki, where he's like baking like muffins and shit. He's got like cute little fucking cooking gloves on, and he makes like baked goods. That really humanized Clayman. I love that little OVA.
Rimuru knew he had to keep Raphael's secret. So, that was something Rimuru was always experimenting with, and over time, he had found building your own skill made it hidden to everyone.
Okay.
Just as Milam's Dragon Eye couldn't see skills manifested internally, that was the core concept behind defending from other people's analysis skills. At the moment, Rimuru hasn't perfected the process, but you can probably assume he's constantly experimenting with manifesting new original skills.
Okay.
In any case, All that was to build the foundation for Rimuru's grand reveal. The fact he knew Maribel was the skill user responsible for influencing everyone. Because Rimuru's Analyze and Assess now told him whether someone was trying to hide their skill, Maribel's attempt to hide her own
There she is!
brought attention to her.
She was there the entire time!
Next came all the talk of the curse, only for Raphael to undo it instantly, then after was
That was crazy. Raphael can just do anything. Glenda was like, I'm gonna die. There's a curse placed on me, I can't do anything. Dispel.
Rimuru letting Glenda go. The reason he could is because in his mind and everyone else's, Glenda wasn't really much of a threat. She didn't even cause that much of a headache, so with her actions not entirely being her own, even Hinata decided to show some lenience.
It's kind of crazy how Glenda just got a new job right away and got granted immunity from, you know, Maribel and them after she tried to kill us and assassinate, you know? I mean, I'm not against it. It's just, let's go, Glenda.
When it came to Glenda asking for employment, with not even Rimuru's top officials receiving a salary yet, Rimuru straight up told her she wouldn't.
Well, Rimuru's wearing a very cute outfit in the manga for this scene, huh? The hell? What happened? Why did they take away the fan service? Rimuru had a goddamn ponytail and he got this little cute little Shota outfit on. What happened?
Employment, with not even Rimuru's top officials receiving a salary yet, Rimuru straight up told her she wouldn't get paid.
No
That,
payment.
however, wouldn't be an issue since it would be no different from her time as a Master Rook of Lubelius.
Church ain't paying you either.
It turns out those from Lubelius didn't receive money but were instead paid in goods.
What kind of goods?
Any money they needed, they'd have to scrounge up themselves.
Damn.
That meant Hinata didn't get any money either, all because Lubelius was built upon the foundation of equality.
Bro, we're fucking bums here, boy. No one got paid anything.
The distribution of salaries would only serve to disrupt that.
Yeah?
Now, back to
Okay, just exchange of goods. That's it. I mean, as long as, you know, like, I don't know, housing, lodging, and food's taken care of, like, at the end of the day, you don't really need money, I guess.
the problem at hand. Tempest really was the only place Glenda could go now. She was, after all, a traitor to Lubelius, and with the Rotsos now an enemy of her too, anywhere she went, she was sure to be hunted. No nation would take her in due to just how politically touchy she was.
She's a refugee.
That made any notion of a stable life impossible, unless the one who took her in was Rimuru. For Rimuru, it was rather tough to believe.
That's a crazy scene. I'm glad that he played that scene at the gifts here. Dude, it was crazy the amount of Glenda fan service last episode. Like, genuinely fucking bonkers.
For Rimuru, it was rather tough to believe everything she was saying, but for some reason, he couldn't find himself hating her. In the end, Glenda would.
Yeah, he couldn't, for some reason, he couldn't hate her. Maybe it was all the fan service, bro. And you know what? The fan service was actually some good directing, right? Rather than just like still frames of mouth moving, the camera work was really just all over Glenda's body.
Be given to Soe figuring she'd be good on his new Spec Ops team.
I wonder what's gonna happen with the drama within. I don't know if Glenda is thirsting over Soe just yet, but I feel like she will, and Gabru's sister might have competition.
The rest of his members weren't fully decided yet, but Soe did have plans to recruit members both locally and externally.
Okay.
Next came everything Glenda knew.
You
The
can't.
scene which will lead us into.
Motherfucker just got eye contact in, bro. He got red eye contact in. Because in my head, basically, if you can overcome this, the red won't show. So he has eye contacts in.
Next episode. That brings us to the end of this one, so if you enjoyed learning more about the story and want to see more, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, sir. And as always, thank you for the summary of the things that was left out in the recent episode, I guess last episode. So this episode went actually quite in depth about, you know, different details of like analysis and, you know, sifting for different people's skills and whatnot. How the interrogation really went with Soe trying to be diabolical. A little bit of, Gavin just getting too cocky, and Johan, I feel for him. And that's pretty much it. And the Inquisitor kind of hyped too. And the next coming episodes, I hope it gets more juicy. I can't wait to see exactly what kind of plan, you know, the Rotsos have for Rimuru. Because I feel like, I don't know. Grandpappy got to pull up. Like the heroes got to pull up out of retirement. What could they really do? See you next time.